is an instructional My Learning Plan video with the purpose of adding and editing new users in the system and also keeping up with staff changes over time. To add or edit a user, go to the navigation menu, go to Administration, and go to Add/Edit User Information. For here, before you go to add a new employee or new user to the system, it's very important to do a check to make sure that that person is not already in the system in some different capacity. If the person has the same email address or user ID that you try to enter, the system will not allow it to happen. But otherwise, there may be an issue that occurs where you might have two accounts for the same person. If that happens, there's no way to merge the information from the two accounts into one. So it's very important to start off before you begin a new user. Before you attempt to add a new user, you need to make sure that that user is not already in the system. A couple of quick ideas on how to do that. You could go here to the Download Active Users link and click on Download File. And here you will see, well, I can't get it to open right now, but the Download Active Users file, you should be able to download a list of all the people who are currently active in the system. You can just view your active users by clicking here. And you can get a list here and you can check it that way. However, you might also have somebody that's in the system, say they're in the system, but they're just inactive. So you might also want to check the downloaded active users. You can download an actual document or just do what I did here and go to view inactive users. And currently we don't have any in the district. So either way, you would want to check possibly if you go to view all users, I believe it is everybody inactive and not. So you can check all the users that way to see if that person is already in the system, okay? Or another way to do that is to do a partial name search. So let's say the person is named Samuel, but he might be listed under Sam. So you could just go like this and put an SA, and anybody who has an SA in their name will pop up. We can make that a little bit more to Sam, or excuse me, go to Sam and hit search, and the only one that comes up is him. Okay, or you can do whatever you want here. You can do a partial name search, bottom line, to look for the employee first. A better way to do it might be to put the employee's ID number in there. That would be a for sure way to know that the employee is not in the system. That is going to be the 3-digit number in Finance Manager that's assigned to the teachers. And so if that's a more for sure way to make sure that they're not currently already in the system. So let's pretend you've checked everything and this person is not in the system. It needs to be added. You simply click on Add New User. I have provided you with a sheet that goes through all the required fields for you to reference as you add a new user. So we're just going to put here test sample user. I'll make that the last name too. Okay. Over here in the user configurations, typically if this is a teacher, you're going to leave the settings as is and not change anything, and they will get the rights of a teacher. If it's an administrator being added, you would click yes for district administrator. If it's somebody who's going to provide professional development to the teachers, they would get instructor's rights. Otherwise, I would keep everything no. I would be sure to let you know if the person being added needs any of those rights in particular. You leave the district catalog blank unless that person is a district administrator who will be needing to be in charge of the district catalog. Otherwise, leave that unchecked. Down here in the certificate holder area, you don't need to enter anything here. Do not enter the Social Security number for safety purposes here. You need to enter the person's date of birth in this box right here. So that would be the only field you actually need to fill in this particular, or excuse me, you fill in the person's birth date here. And for the certificate ID, we want you to use the state ID number assigned to each teacher, which is found in eSchool. It's their ID number in eSchool. Down here for personal information, I would like you to enter the job title of the person, whatever they teach, first grade teacher, English teacher, whatever that might be. This employee number is a 3-digit number that's going to come from finance manager, so please enter it here. You do not really need to enter the date hired and terminated dates. It's really not necessary. And so coming down here to the next section, you're going to change this to yes. And for every single new teacher or anyone entered, you would change the following things to yes. So the only one you're going to leave is to new catalog activities. That just means the person will get email notifications if they for those particular things stated on the left side of the column there. Down here, you need to check which building the person belongs in. Again, if it's multiple buildings, say they work in all 4 buildings, you can collect all 4. Say they only work in, Woodrow Wilson, then just collect that particular thing. Departments and grades are going to be added. If they are, if they are a middle school or high school teacher and belong to a certain department, click that here. Put whatever grades they teach here. In this particular case too, if they happen to be a brand new teacher, these are groups that I've created. If the person is going to be a 100-hour CTLA teacher, you need to check this. If they're a new teacher in this 18-19 school year, you're going to check that. We'll change that grouping every year based on what the school year is. Check whatever boxes are relevant to the person. There's no need to check anything for budget codes. And then you hit submit. Now we need to be able to invite the user. So we're going to go to over here, again, to navigation summaries, to administration, to application access. And I'm going to search for that account I just made. And it's test sample user. And you can see here we don't have an email address for this person yet because it's just a fake account. If that was the case, you'd have to set an email address. So I'm just going to put in .org. Okay. Now at this point, I can send this person an invitation. Once I send them an invitation, they will be prompted to set up their account through My Learning Plan. So you need to take both of those steps when setting up somebody with a new account. You need to create the account, and you also need to send them an invitation for them to join. While we're in here, I'm going to just show you generally what this, again, I reached this through configuration tools, administration, application access, and it takes me here to invite users to join the system, okay? Right now, I haven't sent any invitations to teachers. When I am going to do that, I'm going to click here to all the users, and I'm going to go up here to take action. Nope, I'm not going to do that. You can only send invitations to. Well, bottom line is I'm going to click here, 5, and I'm going to send an invitation by selecting the top one here, which is send an invitation. And then after I send the batch invitations to the entire staff, it will change here. So let's look at somebody who's been invited, one of us that have already been invited. Okay, you can see here I have access granted. I can revoke my account if anything ever happens and I need to do that, or I can pause it. So that's one way to do that. So let's say somebody goes on a maternity leave or whatever, and you need to pause the account for a little while. You could click this pause here. If you wanted to completely revoke it, you could revoke it this way. You could also do it by selecting a particular batch of users using the arrows and then taking an action to either pause an account. Or if you want to maybe resume an account that was paused, you can click on that right here. So this is just basically where you can control people's access to the program overall. Okay, so let's go back to administration. Let's go back to the add or edit users section. And so let's say you want to call up a particular teacher who needs to make a change to their account. all you do is click, search the person's name up here, click on the person's name here, and that will pull up that person's particular account information. You can make any necessary changes that need to be made. And then down here at the bottom, hit submit, and it will make all those changes for you. So that's how you add a user. That's how you can edit users' information. Just be sure you always hit submit whenever changes are made, to be able to make the changes that, to make sure the changes actually. Last thing I want to point out to you is that obviously there's going to be changes in staff members' positions. Possibly someone could leave the district. We could get a new hire. There could be a change in somebody's department or grade level. All of those changes need to be kept up with inside this system, inside the user profiles. One thing I'm going to do to help us keep up with that, at the beginning of every school year, when the teachers sign into My Learning Plan, there's going to be a little alert that comes up that prompts them to pick their profile. They would be responsible for fixing their grade levels, their departments, anything that's inside there that's not accurate. So we won't directly, once this is up and running, have to be changing all that information in the system for the teachers. I am going to have the teachers check that once a year. But there is some things on our end that we will need to do. I just want you to be very cognizant of that we really do need to keep only active current staff and make sure all their information is accurate in the system. We're going to be, I know as a part of a year-end checklist, there's a couple of things that we need to be able to do to go through and make sure that all that information is accurate. So if you find out that somebody is changed positions, left the district, anything like that that requires attention, we need to keep up on those changes and make those changes here inside the user information. But every beginning of the school year, the teachers will be responsible for updating it, making sure it's accurate. But we as administrators of this program will make any changes throughout the school year that occur, and this is exactly where you would go to do it. So let's say, Katie at this point, I'm going to be having grade levels listed down here, and say, I believe she's a 4th grade teacher. Let's say she switches to 1st grade. I would come in here and change that if I'm made aware of that change. So again, all of changes to staff need to make sure it's accurate and updated in this program all the time. At this time, I think that's all you need for adding and editing users and making sure that we are cognizant and keeping up with changes to staff information. Thank you.